15, where we discuss employee benefits. By the end of this chapter, there are several learning objectives that you should be able to meet. You should be able to define employee benefits, summarize what those benefits are that employers are legally required to provide, differentiate between a defined benefit pension plan and a defined contribution pension plan. Discuss the attractiveness of a cash balance plan to employees. Describe a 401k plan and how it differs from a 403b plan. And examine the purposes of ERISA, which is Employee Retirement Income Security Act, and the Retirement Equity Act. Distinguish between an IRA and a Roth IRA, or IRA. Let's say either one. Explain the thrust of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Describe an HMO, a PPO, and a POS plan. Describe a health savings account, health reimbursement arrangements, and a flexible spending account. Explain the concepts of a floating holiday and personal days, the concept of a flexible benefit plan, and discuss 2 reasons that employees are often unaware of the benefits their organizations offer. So let's look at our fringe benefits. These are rewards that you receive as an employee for being members of the organization and for your positions in the organization. It's not related at all to employee performance at all. It's just some extra perks just because you work for the company. There's various categories, legally required, retirement-related, insurance-related, payment for time not worked, and other categories. And Table 15.2 looks at some examples based on category. So under legally required, that would be Social Security, right? Workers' comp. Under retirement-related, that would be your 401k plan. Insurance-related would be medical insurance, dental insurance. Payment for time not worked would be vacation, sick leave, personal time, lunch periods, travel time. And then under the other category would be company discounts, any meals that your company provides, moving expenses, tuition refunds, legal services, recreation and wellness facilities, and you see there's even more. Under Social Security, it was created to provide you with money after you retire, or disability, or both, right? So you could retire, be disabled, or be retired and disabled. And the hospital and medical reimbursement to people who have reached retirement age is another reason that Social Security has been put in place. The insurance system is administered by the federal government. Of course, we've had so many discussions over the last 40 years about Social Security and how people are being impacted by it and how many people are trying to do away with Social Security. And oftentimes it's usually the very wealthy who don't benefit anyway because they already get some greater perks as it is. And so why not free that up so we can use it towards something like, I'll just leave it blank because you can fill it in. You've heard enough about what's going on. And then you may hear some people who may not be well off who want to do away with it, and that's only because they really don't understand the purpose of Social Security, and they don't consider the fact that the vast majority of workers nowadays are having to continue to work longer than what they initially planned to because they can't afford to their day-to-day living expenses and medical costs and so on and so forth. So this is basically, you paid into this fund, and this fund, when you retire, become disabled, or both, is paying you back for, it's like a thank you for your contribution. Here is the return on your investment. And so when you do away with that, then it's like, wait a minute, so I'm being taxed, I'm working my tail off, I'm contributing to society, I'm helping these businesses grow, and when I retire, become disabled, or both, there's nothing to protect me, there's no nest egg, there's nothing for me to fall back on to financially take care of my needs. So this is an ongoing argument, and hopefully those with the money realize that there's more of us without money and we outnumber them. And so we really need to do something to make sure we take care of those who become disabled, retired, or both. So there's different categories. Your retirement benefits is if you reach at least age 62 and be fully insured under the system. It varies, of course, the size according to your average earnings under a covered employment period. The disability benefits, you're eligible when it's provided through your pension, and it's determined by the number of credits that you've received based on your age. We have our Medicare, Parts A, B, C, and D, and Part A is financed through your regular Social Security funds. Part B helps you to pay for medical procedures and supplies. Part C allows you to choose to receive all of your healthcare services through a provider organization, and then Part D is voluntary, and those costs are paid for by monthly premiums. And that's the reason why you'll see where certain procedures and certain medication will say that whether or not it's covered by Part A or B or whatever. There is various problems, as I mentioned earlier, that few people are and will be working to support more retirees as the baby boom generation reaches retirement age. The long-term solution is to supplement Social Security by other types of retirement plans. Now, with unemployment compensation, this is insurance that was designed to provide funds to employees who lost their jobs and you're in the process of seeking another job. So it's not that you just want to now sit back and collect a check. This is that you're in the process, you're in between jobs, and you need to be able to have a bridge, a financial bridge that helps you during the time until you receive a new job. And so you have Title IX, Social Security Act of 1935, that requires employers to pay taxes for this unemployment compensation. And in the presence of state's unemployment compensation system, the proceeds of those taxes then go to the state itself. Now, to be eligible, you must have been covered by Social Security for a minimum number of weeks, been laid off, be willing to accept any suitable employment offered through the state's Unemployment Compensation Commission. Unemployment compensation is limited to a maximum of 26 weeks. It can be extended up to an additional 13 weeks during times of high unemployment across the state and country. Programs for extending unemployment insurance is E, C, and EB, which is Emergency Unemployment Compensation and Extended Benefits. FUTA is the Federal Unemployment Tax Act. It requires that any employer that is turning over a profit, you're making a profit, you have to pay tax on the first $7,000 of wages that are paid to each employee. And this helps to encourage the company to maintain a stable employment. It's fully taxable after the passage of the Tax Reform Act of 1986. It, which is workers' comp, protects employees from loss of income, extra expenses that are associated with any injuries that you receive while on the job, or any illness that you are subjected to. And it's available in all states, but it does vary depending on specific requirements, payments, and procedures. There are various features of these programs that the laws provide for replacement of any income that you lose, medical expense payments, rehab, any death benefits that are paid to survivors, lump sum disability payments, and if you have to sue your employer for compensation is not required. You read that right. You don't have to sue your employer for compensation. Now, some of the common features are that it's paid through an insurance program that's financed through the premiums that the employers pay. Those premiums are based on the accident and illness record of the organization, and any coexist insurance exists in the workers' compensation coverage. Medical expenses are covered in full, and also job-related injuries and illnesses. Table 15.6 shows you the job-connected injuries that are usually covered by workers' comp, where there's an accident where you as the employee don't lose time from work. Then there's those where you do lose time from work, temporary, partial disability, permanent or total disability, permanent, partial, or total disability, death, occupational diseases, like for instance asbestos, non-crippling physical impairments such as deafness, impairments such as employer-sanctioned events, such as social events or during travel related to organization business, and injuries or disabilities attributable to an employer's gross negligence. So, for instance, that could be not properly having brakes serviced on a big rig truck, and as the employee, you were injured or disabled because of that. And here, once again, shows you those types of disabilities that I've already mentioned. We have our company-sponsored retirement plans, and the private plans are employee benefit that provides a source of income to people who have retired, and you have a contributory plan and a non-contributory plan, and the funded pension plans are financed by money that has been set aside previously for that specific purpose, while the non-funded plans make payments to recipients out of current contributions to the fund. Then we have some company-sponsored retirement plans, defined benefit plan, defined contribution plan. So with the first one, your employer is going to pledge to provide a benefit determined by a definite formula that takes place at your retirement date. So based on when they anticipate you to retire, so if your retirement is at 62, 65, whatever, and based on your current age, they figure, well, here's your retirement date. They have this formula they use, the company uses, and they say that at that retirement date, this is how much X number of dollars that you will receive through your retirement plan. The defined contribution plan is going to use a fixed or a known annual contribution instead of a known benefit. So there's the difference. One's a benefit and one's going to be an actual fixed or known annual contribution. All right. Now vesting. You guys may have heard about this when your company says that that if once you vested 5 years or 7 years, then the company will do so on and so forth. So here's what it means. That's where you'll receive money paid into a pension or retirement fund on behalf of your employer. So when they say it's been it's been vested 5 years, meaning once you have paid into your retirement plan for 5 years, the company then will begin to make their own contribution on your behalf into that same pension or fund. And there's some different ways in which it's vested. There's deferred full vesting, where once you reach a certain age and service requirements, meaning you've worked so many years with the company, you can then enjoy full invested rights, meaning that then the company is going to match you within that retirement plan or pension. Deferred graded vesting gives you an increasing percentage of benefits until the age and service requirements for full vesting are met. So then once you reach that age and the number of years that you work for the company, then it's going to either max out, or you're going to reach that amount and then you don't receive any additional. Make sense? Hopefully that is. Defined benefit plans. You have your final average pay plan, your flat benefit plan. Under the final average pay plan, Your benefit is based on average earnings in the years. So usually 2 or 5 years immediately after or before, retirement, preceding retirement. Your flat benefit plan is when you meet the eligibility requirements received for a fixed benefit, and it has nothing to do how much money you have earned over the length of your time that you've been employed. You get a fixed benefit, such as a flat rate. Then we have our cash balance plan, which is a hybrid. It has both the traditional, is between two. So you have the traditional defined benefit plan, and it allows you to take your cash balance pension with you in the form of a lump sum when you leave the organization. You're just going to take a big old chunk of money with you when you go. The advantage of this, of course, is that it helps to track the growth of the retirement funds in current dollars through regular statements. So because you have employees who are, you have the turnover as far as employees that are leaving out of the organization, and when those lump sums are paid out, then guess what? We have a regular statement we can actually track, and we can see how the retirement fund is actually performing, what's coming in and what's going out. With defined contribution plans, every employee has their own separate pension account, and both the employee and the employer contribute to it. You have your 401k and your 403b. The 401k is set up to defer a portion of your pay into the plan, and advantage is that it's tax deductible up to a certain limit. Your 403b is similar, but it can only be used in not-for-profit organizations. So it's known as a tax-deferred annuity. And you usually see the 403b in institutions like schools and different charities, things of that nature. An employer-sponsored simple IRA is available to employers who have 100 or less employees that are receiving $5,000 of compensation per year. And the employee can elect to have the employer make a contribution to a simple IRA rather than receiving the amount in cash. And then the employer can establish that plan, any employer that establishes that plan are then required to either match the contribution or have a non-elective contribution. Under a reset, your employee is having increased security for their retirement and pension plans. It also ensures the fair treatment of employees under pension plans, and it requires that employees have vested rights in their accrued benefits after minimum requirements have been met. So the accumulation of their benefits and making sure that everything is protected. So this is all under a federal law that's designed to protect us as employees. Sarbanes-Oxley Act. This is helping when we had all of these these tax and number fudgers, where they're fudging numbers and not disclosing, reporting how a company was really performing. This helps to raise the criminal penalties for ERISA reporting and any violations to disclosure laws. And the Retirement Equity Act has the various eligibility requirements, vesting provisions, maternity and paternity leaves, and spouse survivor benefits or retirement plans. Tax Reform Act was provided to employees, for employees, to become vested sooner than under ERISA and other legislation. And these are all for plans that began after December 1st, 98, and then any plans that do the general vesting provisions must follow one of two schedules, either cliff vesting or graded vesting. Table 15.8 looks at some of those major provisions in the Retirement Equity Act, in that employees must be allowed to participate in a plan that qualifies for special tax treatment no later than the age of 21 with 1 year of service. It used to be that you had to be 25 and work for a year, but they have lowered the number to 21. And something else that you could see, if you look at the last bullet point, is that an election to waive spouse survivor benefits must be made in writing by both the participant and spouse and witnessed by a plan representative or notary public, which, my goodness, you know, so many of us don't pay attention to the small print and information that are listed and things of that. So if you don't follow through with that, that could be a major blunder. But these are certain things that the guidelines that are part of this act. Now we have our mandatory and our early retirement, and amended Age Discrimination in Employment Act forbids mandatory retirement at any age for all companies employing 20 or more people in the private sector, or in 20 or more in the federal government. And early retirement encouraged by organizations by offering incentives. So it's their humanitarian way to reduce payroll and reward long-tenured employees. So basically, you've been working for the company for 30 years. They're really trying to get you out. They want to thank you for all that you've done, for your commitment, for your dedication. It's time to get some, fresh bones in your seat. And so they can actually encourage through incentives, usually a big payout and bonuses, and covering your maybe your medical insurance and things of that nature, through COBRA for 18 months and so on and so forth. We have our IRA, the individual pension plan that's not covered by private pension plans. SEP IRA allows for small business owners and sole proprietors to make deductible contributions, and your Roth allows you to make a non-deductible contribution in any kind of tax-free withdrawals with certain restrictions. It's usually like 59.5, or Roth IRA, maybe 65.5. I have to remember. I can't remember right now what that age requirement is, but there's different requirements that are allotted to this. Pre-retirement planning and trends in retirement planning. The purpose is to help you as the employee prepare both financially and psychologically for retirement, because you do get a huge wake-up call in both ways. Mentally and financially, you're clobbered with the reality of retirement. And so as the use of defined benefit plans have decreased, there's a trend towards a defined contribution plans and lump sum payments. Looking at our health insurance plans, and this is huge, especially over the past 9 years, 10 years really. When we look at our base plans, that you cover expenses for specified services within certain limits established for each kind of service, and then your major medical plan is going to define a broad range of covered expenses, and as you'll see this long list. And then you'll have your comprehensive plan that, when you're looking at major medical plan, used solely. Right? It's really interesting because when you deal with insurance, both health and life insurance, the terminology is so weighted that the average person is not written. And as I said plenty of times, you need to write at least at a 5th grade level, and at most at an 8th grade comprehension or reading level. And they're writing at a level, not even just collegiate, but you're writing at a level of a specialized knowledge that only people within that industry can truly comprehend. And so there's so much that goes into it, and so many people get so confused and get tangled up in so many different webs, and you just don't know what you're getting. So I have major issues with how plans are created, outlined, explained, and that there's too many employees and individuals who just don't understand what they're getting. So Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act helps insure those who are uninsured and help you purchase health insurance as an individual. And there are various provisions that allow for low-income individuals to have subsidized health insurance or government-provided Medicaid. Table 15.9 is looking at essential coverage under the ACA. And just really quick, we're going to go back because, of course, with all that is being gutted and changed with the current administration, who knows what's going to happen with this. So, Table 15.9, essential coverage under ACA. You can see some of what falls under that: prescription drugs, lab services, hospitalization, maternity newborn care, pediatric services, including oral and vision care. HMOs. Oh. These are where you have a contract with a company to provide certain basic medical services around the clock, 7 days a week for a fixed cost. So there's no fluctuating cost. It's no change in cost. It's a fixed cost. And this is an emphasis on prevention of health problems and costs. The disadvantage is that employees are required to use only those physicians that are employed by or approved by the HMO. And so that means if you've had a family doctor for 10, 15 years and you want to continue using your doctor, if that doctor is not employed by or approved by your HMO, you can't use them. So you pay for them out of pocket. There are certain procedures and treatments that are required to be pre-approved by HMO. So although it seems natural that if your doctor says you need to have XYZ, then why wouldn't we just go ahead and schedule and have it done? No. It may have to be pre-approved first. So it has to then be submitted to the HMO as like a claim for the HMO to say, yes, we approve you to have that procedure and that treatment. And based on that, this is what we're going to pay, blah, blah, blah. So you can see where that can cause some major dilemmas, because what if they deny it and say, no, you're not approved? And what also can happen is if you don't wait for pre-approval and you go and have that procedure or treatment without pre-approval, the HMO can deny your claim, and you have to pay for everything out of pocket. Now, a PPO is your preferred provider organization, and is formed by contracting with a group of various doctors and hospitals who will provide services at a discount or at what can be seen as an attractive price. And they're designated as preferred providers of care. And so at that point, you have a freedom to choose your own doctors. And most times, guess what? Your doctor follows in line with that. Your doctor accepts that insurance, and their insurance acknowledges, and they have a relationship and contract with that doctor. Now, your HSAs, or your health savings account, they're similar to 401k retirement plans. They allow an amount of tax-free funds to be put aside for both an employer and an employee, and funds can be withdrawn to pay for out-of-pocket medical expenses. Your POS plans are a combination of HMO and PPO. Health reimbursement arrangements are employer-funded. They have a tax-advantage health benefit that reimburse you for out-of-pocket medical expenses that you may have, as well as for any health insurance premiums that you have to pay. FSAs are special accounts that you put money into to pay for qualified costs. The disadvantage is the funds aren't used by the end of the plan year. They're forfeited to the employer. Ooh. A consumer-driven health plan is all plans that use HSAs or HRAs or FSAs to offset out-of-pocket costs for your health care. Our dental and life insurance. So dental insurance is the fastest growing type of employee benefit. They specify a deductible and require you to pay a portion of the cost of services, while life insurance is a group plan provided to all employees. The employer has to provide a minimum coverage, and you have the option to purchase more if you'd like at your own expense. Accident insurance is designed to provide funds for a limited period of time, and disability insurance is set up to protect you if you have any long-term or permanent disability. Payment for time not worked are paid holidays, paid vacations once you need a certain length of service, and the time allowed for those vacations depend on your length of service. Most, but not all, companies offer paid holidays, so don't go work for a small or micro company and be surprised if you don't have paid holidays and vacations. Floating holiday is observed at the discretion of the employee or the employer, while personal time off and personal days have a certain number of days with pay to attain if you have any kind of personal affairs that you want to meet. You're just taking off some personal days. These are also perks and not mandatory. Not all companies will offer them, so don't be surprised if your company does not. Then we have our cafeteria plan. These are flexible benefit plans, and they allow employees to select from a wide range of options, how their direct compensation and benefits will be distributed. And they're attractive because employee benefits are a very significant component of several compensation. Of overall compensation. Goodness, I know that's several. And the flexible benefits can allow employers to limit their contributions without having to alienate employees, since options give you as the employee some control over the distribution of benefits. The lifestyles have changed in the past several years, which has caused employees to reevaluate the need for certain traditional benefits. For example, in a family where both spouses work and receive family medical insurance, one coverage can actually be sufficient. So why would I then take on and accept coverage from my company? So I'm like, I don't really need that. Benefits can also be useful in recruiting and retaining employees. However, when a mandatory benefit package is largely unresponsive to a prospective employee's needs or to the retention of that employee, the organization is actually wasting money. The high cost of benefits is causing organizations to try to communicate effectively the real cost to the employee. And so by making specific benefit choices, you as the employee actually become highly familiar with the costs associated with each benefit. And there can be positive tax ramifications for you as the employee, also because certain benefits are taxable and others aren't. Then different benefit mixes can be attractive to different employees. So you can have a tax ramification for a flexible plan, which can have a positive impact on both your attitude and behavior. So it can lower your overall health cost, and there are some problems with the flexible plans in that they require more effort to administer them. Unions often oppose flexible plans because they are required to give up control over the program details or face losing some of their previously negotiated benefit improvements. Employees may not choose those benefits that are in their own best interest. Once again, as I've said, when you have all of this $30 words used when a $2 word could be used, you may not know that you're not choosing the right benefits. Something else is that tax laws limit the amount of individual flexibility in certain situations. So you can see how that could be a drawback for many employees. Then our benefit packages. That's where your company should add or delete new benefits by examining the impact on the total package itself. And to be successful, they should integrate various components. You have to keep it spruced up. You have to keep it attractive and enticing and beneficial to all. Now, when communicating the benefit package, making sure there's a personalized statement that's sent periodically to each employee, using the internet technology that your company should have. We're in the 21st century. Can you work with us? And then, of course, posters and visual presentations that can be placed in employee break rooms, and then holding various meetings and conferences to make sure that you're communicating this package and it's clear and concise, and any questions that employees may have that can be addressed during those times. So that's chapter 15. I hope that I explained some of these key terms. I hope that after reading the chapter, you're able to meet the objectives, and that if you have any questions, that you will email me. Thank you.